Imagine a dirt bike hand-built by the best engineers on Earth. Titanium, magnesium, parts machined one at a time by hand with no expense spared. Some of these machines reportedly cost more than a house. And here's the catch: you could never buy one. Not for any price. They were never for sale. They existed for exactly one purpose: to win. These were the works bikes. For over a decade, they were the most exotic, most beautiful, most dominant machines in the sport. And in 1986, motocross banned them completely. This is the story of the golden age that was too perfect to survive, made your dirt bike better than it ever could have been. To understand what was lost, you have to understand what a works bike actually was. Back in the 70s and early 80s, professional motocross in America was the Wild West. There were almost no limits on what a factory could build. If you had the budget and the engineers, anything was fair game in the chase for a championship. So the Japanese factories went to war, not on the track, but in their workshops. A works bike, sometimes called a factory bike, was a one-off machine, hand-built from the ground up, not modified from a production model, built from nothing, specifically to race. Engineers used materials the average rider would never see: titanium bolts, magnesium cases, exotic alloys chosen to shave off every possible gram. Every part was a prototype. Every bike was essentially a rolling piece of art that also happened to be a weapon, and they were breathtakingly expensive. These weren't machines built to a budget, they were built to win, and the cost simply didn't matter. Some of the most exotic factory specials reportedly ran well over $100,000 each in 1980s money. There was just one problem: only a tiny handful of riders on the entire planet would ever get to ride one. This is where the golden age turned dark. Motocross split into two completely different worlds. On one side, the factory riders handed these exotic, unobtainable machines built by the best engineers in the industry. On the other side, the privateers, independent racers paying their own way, lining up on the exact same bikes you could buy off a dealership floor. It wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't even close. A privateer could be the more talented rider and still get destroyed, simply because the machine underneath the factory star was on another planet. They called it the era of the haves and the have-nots. And one company towered over everyone: Honda. By the mid-80s, Honda's racing division had assembled what many still call the greatest factory team ever put together, stacked with superstars, backed by the might of a manufacturing empire, riding some of the trickiest, most advanced works bikes ever created. When they showed up, they didn't just win, they went 1, 2, 3. For the other manufacturers, it was a nightmare. You could pour millions into your own program and still watch Honda's exotic machines disappear into the distance. Something, they decided, had to change. And they weren't going to beat Honda on the track, so they went after them in the rulebook. The pressure came mostly from the manufacturers, who were tired of losing, reportedly led by Yamaha and Suzuki. Their argument sounded noble. The spending was out of control, privateers had no chance, and the sport needed a level playing field. So they pushed the American Motorcyclist Association, the AMA, for something radical: a rule that would ban the works bike entirely. In 1984, the AMA dropped a bombshell. Starting in 1986, every bike in AMA Pro Motocross and Supercross would have to be production-based. It was maybe the most radical announcement in the history of American motocross. Here's what that meant in plain terms: no more one-off exotic specials. Every race bike now had to start life as a showroom stock machine, the same bike a normal person could walk into a dealership and buy. Teams could still make some changes, like porting the engine or upgrading suspension, but the core of the bike, the frame, the engine cases, had to stay close to stock. And crucially, the factories now had to actually sell these bikes to the public. If you raced it, people had to be able to buy it. That idea, that the machine under the champion must be available to everyone, is called homologation, and a version of it still governs the sport today, requiring hundreds of units to be built for sale. The message was simple: the age of the untouchable works bike was over. The party was done, but the rule was really aimed at one target above all others: Honda. Everyone assumed that stripping away Honda's exotic machines would finally level the field. They were about to be very, very wrong. Now here's the part that makes this whole story worth telling. The production rule was born out of jealousy and money. It killed off some of the most beautiful machines ever built. For fans of that golden age, it was the end of something magical, and a lot of them never forgave it. But it did something nobody fully predicted. Before 1986, all the genius, all the exotic engineering, all the money went into bikes that almost no one could ever own. After 1986, all of that talent had to be poured into the bikes that normal people actually bought, because now the race bike and the showroom bike had to be the same machine. The result changed the sport forever. Year after year, the production dirt bike in the dealership got dramatically better because the factories were now fighting their wars in the exact machines the public could buy. The gap between a champion's bike and a weekend rider's bike shrank in a way that would have been unthinkable in the works era. The modern dirt bike, the incredibly capable, refined machine sitting in garages all over the world today, exists in large part because of that 1986 rule. The ban that took the exotic works bikes away is the same ban that gave everyone else a genuinely great motorcycle. And that rule, nearly 40 years later, it's still standing. So were the works bikes a tragedy or a gift? They were both. The sport lost its most exotic hand-built masterpieces, machines so perfect and so expensive they had to be legislated out of existence. But in killing them, motocross accidentally handed something priceless to everyone else. Bikes worth racing for riders who weren't superstars. The golden age of the works bike is gone. What it left behind is the machine you can actually ride. If you're new here, we've already told the story of the Honda CR 500 that killed its own class and how the two-stroke was executed by a single rule. Go watch those next, and subscribe, because there are a lot more untold stories from the history of motocross coming. Tell me in the comments, would you rather ride a hand-built works bike or a modern machine? I think I already know the answer.